Hey there, my friend. Imagine this. You wake up one morning only to find that something's changed. You stretch, open your eyes, and look outside except you can't see the familiar golden light of the Sunday. There's nothing but the deep, endless darkness of the Arctic night. For the next few months, there won't be any sunrise to wake you, no bright afternoon to guide you through the day. The sun has disappeared, and here, in this small Arctic village, you'll learn what it means to live without light. But don't worry, you're not alone in this. In fact, you're in a village that has learned to thrive in the polar night, a place where time isn't measured by the rising and setting of the sun, but by the rhythms of daily life in the cold, dark silence. You're about to find out what it's like to exist in a world where darkness is the constant companion, where you must adapt to this stillness, and where, in time, you might even begin to find peace in it. So, come with me, settle in, and let's take a slow, relaxing journey together. Take a deep breath, let the quiet around you sink in, and picture yourself in this far-flung village at the very edge of the world. Welcome to the Arctic, a place unlike any you've ever experienced before. Picture this village in the far northern reaches of the earth, where snow blankets the ground and ice coats everything in sight. Here, the sun does not rise above the horizon for months. Instead, you'll find yourself in the grip of the polar night, an endless darkness that stretches on and on. It's as though the sun has taken a long, quiet vacation, leaving only the profound stillness of the night in its place. You look out the window of your small, sturdy home. The world outside is a vast white landscape, still and silent, with snow stretching as far as your eyes can see. The air is sharp and crisp, the cold so intense it seems to freeze time itself. The houses in this village are built with care, made to withstand the brutal conditions of the Arctic. They are simple but strong, with thick walls designed to protect against the biting cold that often creeps in despite the best efforts of the village's builders. And yet, there's a certain beauty in this place. It's a beauty born of stillness, of the quiet hum of life moving slowly in the dark. There's no rush here, no noise, no hustle, no hurry. The wind howls at times, but even that feels like a whisper, a soft murmur in the distance. The only light you'll see for months will come from the soft flicker of oil lamps inside the homes, casting a warm golden glow that contrasts sharply with the darkness outside. Time no longer feels like it does in the places you're used to. Here in this village, the rising and setting of the sun are nothing but a memory. There are no clocks ticking away the hours, no sunlight to guide you through the day. Instead, the passage of time is measured by the flicker of oil lamps, the quiet moments of work and rest, the steady rhythm of your life as you learn to live without the Sunday. You don't feel the need to rush or push through the day. There's no urgency in the cold, dark hours. You wake with the first light that peeks through the horizon, if you can even call it daylight, and go to bed as the night seems to stretch on forever. It's a rhythm that takes some time to get used to, but it soon becomes familiar. The absence of the sun might seem strange at first, but as you live through it, you start to feel a deep peace in the silence, a calmness that pervades every part of life here. In a world without daylight, you find new ways to measure time. You learn to listen to the whispers of the wind, the soft shifts in the temperature, and the glow of the oil lamps that seem to speak more clearly than the sun ever did. The nights are long, yes, but they are never boring. There is something quietly comforting about the endless darkness, a kind of stillness that you begin to embrace and even love. The village feels like a place suspended in time, a place where the quiet is thick and full of possibility. You are free to live at your own pace, to sleep when your body tells you to sleep, and to wake when you feel rested, not according to a clock, but in harmony with the world around you. You may have heard stories of how people survive the polar night, but now you're living it. The days blend into one another. You wake in the morning to an ever-present darkness, the air filled with the scent of burning wood and the occasional murmur of a neighbor. In this world, the harsh cold of the Arctic becomes a quiet companion. The wind may howl outside, but inside, you'll find warmth not just from the fire, but from the people around you, the community that shares the same dark days. The village itself is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels almost sacred. It's the silence of people working together, helping each other, and sharing stories by the warmth of their hearths. The dark is no longer something to fear. It's simply a part of life, a companion on this long journey. Now, take a moment and picture yourself in this place. How does it feel? The quiet, the darkness, the cold? At first, it may feel strange, even unsettling. But over time, you come to understand that the dark is not your enemy. It's simply another part of the world, another rhythm to follow, another way of living. You might even find yourself growing fond of it, fond of the soft, comforting glow of the oil lamps, of the quiet hours spent with the people you care about, of the peace that comes with the endless night. As you settle into the darkness, you begin to see it differently. The sun may be gone, but the stars are brighter than you've ever seen, and the aurora borealis dances across the sky like an ethereal light show. The darkness, once intimidating, now becomes a space for reflection, for connection with nature, and with those who share this world with you. And as the days pass, you realize something important. The night, the cold, the endless days, they are all a part of life here. You begin to feel connected to the land, to the rhythm of the seasons, to the people around you. The polar night teaches you something invaluable: the beauty of living with the darkness, finding peace in the quiet, and embracing the stillness of the world around you. So, as you sit by your lamp, looking out into the endless dark, you realize this is life in the Arctic. It's slow, peaceful, and strange, but it's also deeply meaningful. Welcome to the polar night, my friend. Welcome to a place where time, darkness, and stillness become your guides. Now, let's continue this journey together. Imagine waking up in the midst of the Arctic polar night. There's no sun to rise and greet you, but instead, the soft flickering glow of oil lamps lighting your way. The cold outside is unforgiving, but inside, your home is warm, filled with the comforting scent of wood smoke from the fire crackling in the hearth. This is your world now, quiet, peaceful, and wrapped in a perpetual darkness that stretches for months. As you move through your day, you find yourself surrounded by the familiar sounds of daily life. The soft, rhythmic chopping of vegetables, the bubbling of stews simmering on the stove, and the occasional scrape of a knife against cutting board all mark the passage of time. Even when you can't see the Sunday, you're busy, but there's no rush. Time feels slower, like the whole village moves at its own gentle pace. In the kitchen, your hands are busy chopping root vegetables, stirring thick soups, kneading dough for bread. The cold might be relentless outside, but inside, the warmth from the fire fills the house, creating an almost comforting contrast. The food you prepare isn't just nourishment, it's a part of your survival. You rely on what you can grow, trap, and preserve fish, salted meats, root vegetables that will see you through the long, dark months. The animals need tending to as well. Whether it's the reindeer, sled dogs, or the chickens, you're always mindful of them. You make sure they're fed and protected from the cold, as they are just as much a part of your survival as the food you grow or the fire that keeps you warm. Even though the temperature outside could freeze your breath in the air, you find peace in these small tasks. They remind you that life, despite the endless darkness, still continues. The stillness of the Arctic night allows you to focus on the small things, the things that bring a sense of normalcy and connection to the world around you. You find solace in the repetitive motions of your day, the rhythmic scraping of the shovel against the frozen ground as you tend to the animal pens, the soft murmur of your voice as you reassure the sled dogs that their meal is coming, and the way the firelight dances off the wooden beams above you, casting long, flickering shadows across the room. As the day turns to evening, the village becomes even quieter. The outside world is blanketed in snow, with no sounds of traffic or distant voices. There is only the faint sound of the wind as it sweeps across the frozen tundra, howling through the cracks in the walls. But inside, the village comes to life in a different way. People gather in their homes, drawn together by the warmth of the hearth and the comfort of shared routines. You spend the evening with your family, perhaps with a few neighbors over for company. You sit around the fire, eating hearty meals that have been slowly simmered throughout the day, savoring every bite. There's a sense of contentment in this simple routine, a knowledge that, despite the harshness of the world outside, this space, this small, warm corner of the Arctic is yours to cherish. The conversation flows easily, full of stories passed down through generations. The elders share their tales of winters long past, of the struggles and triumphs that have shaped the community. The younger ones listen intently, their eyes wide with wonder, as they hear of the days when the village was first founded, when life was even harder than it is now. Those stories are important. They are the threads that weave together the fabric of your shared existence. You are all part of something larger than just yourselves. The warmth of the fire is soothing, wrapping you in its embrace as the oil lamps flicker softly, casting gentle light on your faces. The stillness of the Arctic night doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. It feels like a companion, like a constant presence that surrounds and protects you. Time may have stopped in some ways, but here, in the flickering light and warmth of the hearth, life continues steady, unhurried, and filled with moments of quiet joy. As the night deepens and the fire burns lower, you feel the pull of sleep. You gather your blankets and furs, ready to settle in for the night. The cold outside is a distant thought now. You're safe inside, cocooned in warmth and peace. The darkness stretches on, but it no longer feels like something to fear. It feels like a part of you, as if you have learned to live with it, to exist alongside it, finding comfort and meaning in the solitude it brings. In the quiet of your home, the wind howling outside and the snow drifting past your window, you close your eyes. You rest, knowing that tomorrow will come just like today, a quiet continuation of this strange, beautiful life in the Arctic dark. And when you wake, you will once again be greeted by the soft glow of oil lamps and the comforting warmth of the fire, ready to face another day, another night, in this place where the sun has disappeared. But life never truly stops. The stillness of the Arctic night allows you to focus on the small things, the things that bring a sense of normalcy and connection to the world around you. You find solace in the repetitive motions of your day, the rhythmic scraping of the shovel against the frozen ground as you tend to the animal pens, the soft murmur of your voice as you reassure the sled dogs that their meal is coming, and the way the firelight dances off the wooden beams above you, casting long, flickering shadows across the room. As the day turns to evening, the village becomes even quieter. The outside world is blanketed in snow, with no sounds of traffic or distant voices. There is only the faint sound of the wind as it sweeps across the frozen tundra, howling through the cracks in the walls. But inside, the village comes to life in a different way. People gather in their homes, drawn together by the warmth of the hearth and the comfort of shared routines. You spend the evening with your family, perhaps with a few neighbors over for company. You sit around the fire, eating hearty meals that have been slowly simmered throughout the day, savoring every bite. There's a sense of contentment in this simple routine, a knowledge that, despite the harshness of the world outside, this space, this small, warm corner of the Arctic is yours to cherish. The conversation flows easily, full of stories passed down through generations. The elders share their tales of winters long past, of the struggles and triumphs that have shaped the community. The younger ones listen intently, their eyes wide with wonder, as they hear of the days when the village was first founded, when life was even harder than it is now. Those stories are important. They are the threads that weave together the fabric of your shared existence. You are all part of something larger than just yourselves. The warmth of the fire is soothing, wrapping you in its embrace as the oil lamps flicker softly, casting gentle light on your faces. The stillness of the Arctic night doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. It feels like a companion, like a constant presence that surrounds and protects you. Time may have stopped in some ways, but here, in the flickering light and warmth of the hearth, life continues steady, unhurried, and filled with moments of quiet joy. As the night deepens and the fire burns lower, you feel the pull of sleep. You gather your blankets and furs, ready to settle in for the night. The cold outside is a distant thought now. You're safe inside, cocooned in warmth and peace. The darkness stretches on, but it no longer feels like something to fear. It feels like a part of you, as if you have learned to live with it, to exist alongside it, finding comfort and meaning in the solitude it brings. In the quiet of your home, the wind howling outside and the snow drifting past your window, you close your eyes. You rest, knowing that tomorrow will come just like today, a quiet continuation of this strange, beautiful life in the Arctic dark. And when you wake, you will once again be greeted by the soft glow of oil lamps and the comforting warmth of the fire, ready to face another day, another night, in this place where the sun has disappeared. But life never truly stops. The stillness of the Arctic night allows you to focus on the small things, the things that bring a sense of normalcy and connection to the world around you. You find solace in the repetitive motions of your day, the rhythmic scraping of the shovel against the frozen ground as you tend to the animal pens, the soft murmur of your voice as you reassure the sled dogs that their meal is coming, and the way the firelight dances off the wooden beams above you, casting long, flickering shadows across the room. As the day turns to evening, the village becomes even quieter. The outside world is blanketed in snow, with no sounds of traffic or distant voices. There is only the faint sound of the wind as it sweeps across the frozen tundra, howling through the cracks in the walls. But inside, the village comes to life in a different way. People gather in their homes, drawn together by the warmth of the hearth and the comfort of shared routines. You spend the evening with your family, perhaps with a few neighbors over for company. You sit around the fire, eating hearty meals that have been slowly simmered throughout the day, savoring every bite. There's a sense of contentment in this simple routine, a knowledge that, despite the harshness of the world outside, this space, this small, warm corner of the Arctic is yours to cherish. The conversation flows easily, full of stories passed down through generations. The elders share their tales of winters long past, of the struggles and triumphs that have shaped the community. The younger ones listen intently, their eyes wide with wonder, as they hear of the days when the village was first founded, when life was even harder than it is now. Those stories are important. They are the threads that weave together the fabric of your shared existence. You are all part of something larger than just yourselves. The warmth of the fire is soothing, wrapping you in its embrace as the oil lamps flicker softly, casting gentle light on your faces. The stillness of the Arctic night doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. It feels like a companion, like a constant presence that surrounds and protects you. Time may have stopped in some ways, but here, in the flickering light and warmth of the hearth, life continues steady, unhurried, and filled with moments of quiet joy. As the night deepens and the fire burns lower, you feel the pull of sleep. You gather your blankets and furs, ready to settle in for the night. The cold outside is a distant thought now. You're safe inside, cocooned in warmth and peace. The darkness stretches on, but it no longer feels like something to fear. It feels like a part of you, as if you have learned to live with it, to exist alongside it, finding comfort and meaning in the solitude it brings. In the quiet of your home, the wind howling outside and the snow drifting past your window, you close your eyes. You rest, knowing that tomorrow will come just like today, a quiet continuation of this strange, beautiful life in the Arctic dark. And when you wake, you will once again be greeted by the soft glow of oil lamps and the comforting warmth of the fire, ready to face another day, another night, in this place where the sun has disappeared. But life never truly stops. As the day wanes and the night stretches endlessly ahead, the real magic of life in the Arctic begins. The evening is when the village truly comes alive, not with bustling activity, but with quiet connection. You gather with your family around the hearth, the soft crackling of the fire, the only sound breaking the silence of the village. There's something comforting about this ritual. Everyone settles in, exchanging stories that have been passed down through generations. The older ones share tales of ancestors, of survival against all odds, while the younger listen intently, learning the wisdom of those who have lived through more winters than they can count. The stories are not just about the past, they are about your shared survival, your shared strength. As you sit there, you find your hands busy with knitting, mending, or weaving. The warmth from the fire surrounds you as you create garments that will keep you safe from the cold. Every stitch is a small act of care, a reminder of your place in this community. The clothes you make aren't just functional, they are a connection to the past, to those who have made them before you. You see the same patterns repeated, the same methods passed down, a tradition that has survived just as long as the village itself. In the stillness of the Arctic night, books passed down through generations become treasured companions. As you read aloud, the stories fill the room with a light brighter than any lamp could ever provide. These tales, once shared in the flickering firelight of your ancestors, continue to provide guidance, comfort, and a sense of belonging. They are part of your heritage, a bridge between the past and the present, connecting you to a time when the sun did shine on this village, and to a future where, despite the endless night, life will go on. As the evening draws to a close, and the oil lamps flicker low, you feel a deep sense of contentment. The day's work is done, the stories have been told, and the warmth of the hearth wraps you in a sense of peace. You retreat to your bed, beneath thick furs, and as the night stretches on, you sleep soundly, knowing that tomorrow will bring more of the same, the steady rhythm of life, the comfort of community, and the quiet strength that comes from living in harmony with the land and the dark. As you lay there, cocooned in warmth, the fire's last embers softly crackling in the background, your mind begins to wander. The village, the land, and even the darkness outside feel like a living thing, breathing in rhythm with you. The long, quiet hours of the polar night bring with them a rare kind of peace, a peace that only those who have lived through such long winters can truly understand. You realize that this darkness isn't just a period of survival, but a time of deep reflection, a time to honor the past, connect with the present, and contemplate the future. The cold outside may be unyielding, but inside, life moves at a different pace. The steady pulse of daily tasks, caring for the animals, preparing meals, mending clothes, is balanced by moments of rest, of connection, and of introspection. It is in these moments, when the village is at rest, that the true magic of life in the Arctic polar night reveals itself. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the simple things, your family, your home, the warmth of the fire, the stories that have been passed down through generations. These are the threads that weave together the fabric of your life in the darkness, a tapestry of survival, love, and enduring strength. There is a quiet strength that comes from living in this frozen, sunless world, a strength that is rooted in the earth, in the land that has sustained generations before you, and will continue to do so for generations to come. You are part of something much larger than yourself, a legacy of resilience and survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The village, despite its isolation, is connected in ways that go beyond mere proximity. It is bound by the shared experience of living through the long nights, of facing the same cold, the same darkness, and yet finding ways to thrive, to survive, and to find meaning in it all. As the night deepens and the hours slip by unnoticed, you feel the pull of sleep becoming stronger. Your eyelids grow heavy, but before you close them completely, you take a moment to listen, truly listen. You hear the soft, steady breathing of your family, the distant sound of the wind howling outside, the quiet hum of the oil lamp as it burns low. These sounds, these rhythms, become a lullaby of sorts, soothing you into rest. The world outside may be harsh and cold, but here, in the warmth of your home, surrounded by those you love, you feel an unshakable sense of peace. Tomorrow will bring the same calm, the same quiet rhythms, but that is what you cherish. The steady flow of life in the Arctic polar night is not defined by the seasons, nor by the sun, but by the enduring strength of the people who call this place home. There's beauty in the simplicity of it all, the slow pace of life, the close-knit community, and the unspoken understanding that, despite the long nights and the harsh cold, you are never truly alone. You share this time with others, with the land, and with the endless, silent night. And so, as you drift off into a peaceful sleep, knowing that the world will continue turning in its slow, graceful way, you are reminded that this night is not just the absence of light, it is the presence of something far deeper. It is the presence of life itself, moving in its own quiet rhythm, sustained by love, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between people and the land. In this Arctic world, darkness may reign, but it is never truly dark. The warmth of connection, the strength of community, and the light of shared stories will always find a way to shine through. As you continue to drift deeper into sleep, the darkness wraps around you like a thick, comforting blanket, and you realize that it is in this very darkness that you found a unique kind of peace. Here in the long embrace of the polar night, there is no hurry. Time does not rush by. Instead, it flows slowly, almost languidly, as though the night itself has no need to end. It lingers, inviting you to savor each passing moment, to notice the smallest details that, in brighter, busier times, might go unnoticed. You think about how the village, despite being so isolated from the rest of the world, has become a self-sustaining world of its own. Everything you need is right here: your family, your community, the animals that keep you grounded. In this quiet, self-contained existence, there's a certain magic. The world may be cold and unforgiving, but inside the warmth of your home, surrounded by those you love, everything feels balanced. The harsh realities of survival are softened by the warmth of connection, of knowing that you are all in this together, facing the long night as one. The stories shared around the hearth, passed down through generations, are more than just entertainment or a way to pass the time. They are the threads that bind the community together, a reminder of all that has come before and all that will come after. The struggles, the triumphs, the resilience that runs through the veins of every person in the village, these are the stories that shape your world, and they give meaning to every day, every night. They remind you that you are part of something far greater than yourself, a lineage of survivors who have endured in this harsh, frozen place for centuries. In the stillness of the night, your thoughts turn to the future, to the children who will one day sit by the fire, listening to these same stories. The village may seem small, but its legacy is vast, stretching far beyond the horizon, carried on the wings of the stories you tell and the traditions you pass down. You think about how the world outside the Arctic, filled with light and warmth and endless noise, must seem so different. But here, in the quiet dark, you found something far more valuable than the Sunday. You found a sense of belonging, of purpose, of peace. And then, as you settle deeper into sleep, there's a moment of realization. The darkness isn't an absence of light. It's a presence in itself. It's the canvas on which all the meaningful moments of your life are painted. Your family's laughter, the comfort of your home, the shared rituals of the village. The night isn't something to be feared. It is something to be embraced. Here, you don't just survive the long Arctic nights. You live through them. You make memories. You share your life with others. And in that shared experience, you find your light, even when the sun never rises. As you drift into the quiet of sleep, you are at peace. You are wrapped in the warmth of your home, the love of your family, and the strength of your community. Tomorrow, as always, will bring the same quiet rhythm, the same steady passage of time. But for now, in this moment, you rest knowing that the night is yours to embrace, and that in this eternal darkness, you are never truly alone. As the Arctic night stretches on, the oil lamps become the heartbeat of the village. With the sun absent for months, these humble flames are the only light that illuminates the dark, frigid world around you. Their soft golden glow creates a warm contrast against the surrounding cold, casting gentle shadows that dance on the faces of your family and neighbors. The lamps offer more than mere visibility, they bring a sense of comfort, guiding you through the darkness. The flickering flames of the lamps provide a soft rhythm, pulsing through the silence. They are like little beacons of hope, reminding everyone that, despite the long, harsh night, life still moves forward. In this village, where every moment counts, the light from these lamps becomes more than just illumination. It becomes the essence of community, the symbol of warmth and survival in the absence of the Sunday. As the hours stretch on, the oil lamps become more than just practical tools, they take on a deeper, almost sacred significance. In a world where the sun is absent for months, these small, flickering flames are not only what allows you to see, but also what makes the world feel safe, familiar, and alive. In the unbroken night, they stand as the only constant, a reminder that life continues, even in the harshest of conditions. Around the lamps, the sense of community deepens. Families gather together, each person drawn by the comforting warmth they offer. The light fills every corner of the room, casting soft shadows on the faces of loved ones. There is a certain magic in the way the flames dance, their soft glow reflecting the quiet joy of shared moments. It is under this light that stories are told, laughter echoes, and bonds are strengthened. The lamp becomes a quiet companion, its warmth wrapping around you like a hug, creating a protective cocoon in the center of your home. Outside, the Arctic winds howl, the cold air biting and unforgiving. But inside, the warmth of the fire and the oil lamps offer a sanctuary. The rhythmic flicker of the flames is almost hypnotic, soothing the soul and allowing the world to feel just a little bit less daunting. There is something deeply reassuring about the constancy of the light. It is a steady presence that does not waver, even as the darkness outside feels infinite. As you sit by the lamp, knitting, reading, or simply resting, there is a sense of peace that washes over you. The dark night, though endless, no longer feels isolating. The light of the oil lamp, though small in comparison to the vast, cold world beyond your walls, holds immense power. It is a symbol of resilience, of human ingenuity, and of the will to persist despite the overwhelming darkness. And yet, as the lamp flickers and its flame dances, it is also a reminder of fragility. The soft golden light is not infinite. It needs to be tended to, fueled by the oil that keeps it alive. The act of refilling the lamps, trimming the wicks, and ensuring they remain lit becomes a ritual in itself, a small but important act that mirrors the very act of living in the Arctic. The fire, much like the people in the village, is sustained by care, by effort, and by a commitment to survival. The warmth of the lamps invites quiet reflection. In their glow, you begin to understand that this light is not just for seeing, it is for remembering. It is for honoring the past, the struggles and triumphs of those who came before you. It is for finding hope in the present as you navigate the long, dark months. And it is for looking toward the future, knowing that even in the darkest of times, there is light to guide you. And as the lamp's light flickers softly, you know that no matter how long the night lasts, the flame will burn, steady and unwavering, a beacon of warmth, life, and community in the heart of the Arctic. The glow of the oil lamps becomes a silent pact between the villagers and the world around them. As the night deepens, there's a quiet sense of intimacy that fills the space. People begin to lean closer, their faces illuminated by the soft flicker of the flame. It's in these moments that the stories shared take on new meaning. The warmth of the lamp not only brightens the room but also nurtures the connection between souls, bringing a sense of comfort that transcends the isolation of the Arctic night. The rhythm of life here, so closely intertwined with the light from the lamps, becomes a steady pulse. Each night, as the village sinks into the quiet embrace of darkness, the oil lamps are always there, offering reassurance that the world hasn't stopped moving. The flickering flames act as a bridge between the past, present, and future. They carry with them the stories of those who lived here before, their triumphs and struggles woven into the light. When the village gathers around the lamp, each person is not just part of the current story, but also connected to the generations who have kept the flames burning, passing down traditions, wisdom, and resilience through the years. In the stillness of the night, when the wind howls outside and the world is swallowed by the cold, the oil lamps offer more than just light. They offer a sense of permanence in an otherwise ever-changing world. The village might be isolated from the outside world, but the lamp provides a constant, a connection to each other and to the rhythms of life that refuse to be extinguished. There's something deeply symbolic in the fact that these lamps are powered by oil, much like the community itself. They rely on the strength and effort of those who keep them fueled, who tend to them carefully, and who understand the importance of their light. You find yourself drawn to these small, flickering flames, entranced by the way they seem to dance in harmony with the wind that whispers through the cracks of the cabin. Each flame seems to have its own life, moving and shifting in response to the air around it, but always staying alight, always pushing back against the darkness. It is a constant reminder that no matter how cold or dark the world may become, the light, symbolic and literal, will always endure. As you sit there, warmed by the hearth, you begin to see the oil lamps as something more than just light. They are an anchor in this Arctic world, something to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. They are the promise that life, like the flames, continues to flicker, to burn, to exist, even in the harshest of conditions. They are not just a source of light. They are a symbol of human resilience, of the quiet strength that keeps a community alive, even when the world outside seems to be asleep in the cold, dark embrace of the polar night. The oil lamps flicker softly, their light reaching out to you, and for a moment, you feel as if you're a part of something larger than yourself, a part of a tradition, a community, a world that, despite its isolation and darkness, still finds a way to thrive. The Arctic night may be long, But in the soft glow of the lamp, you find that the darkness is not something to fear. It is something to live with, to share, to endure, and ultimately to embrace. As the night wears on and the lamps burn low, you feel a sense of peace. Tomorrow will come, just as it always does, and with it, another night. Another evening spent under the soft glow of the oil lamps. Another story shared. Another memory made. The light will continue to flicker, and life will continue, quietly, steadily, through the endless Arctic night. In the glow of the oil lamps, you know that no matter how long the darkness lasts, you are never truly alone. The oil lamps hold a significance far beyond their practical use. In the frozen darkness, they are symbolic of life itself. They represent warmth, connection, and endurance. The harsh cold of the Arctic polar night would be unbearable without the light of the lamps to fill the homes, to gather the villagers around, and to remind them that they are not alone. Every flicker of the flame is a shared experience, a reminder that even in the coldest, darkest hours, there is light to be found in community. These lamps are also a link to the past. They have been used by generations before you, by ancestors who lived through similar winters, telling stories and passing down traditions by their light. As the flame dances, you feel connected to them, to the survival and resilience of those who came before. And in their light, you also see the future, your children, who will one day sit by the same lamp, hearing the same stories, keeping the same traditions alive. The oil lamps are not just a relic of the past. They are a thread that binds generations together, stretching across time. As you sit there in the soft glow of their flame, you feel the weight of history pressing gently on your shoulders. Each flicker, each dance of the flame, tells the story of countless winters endured, of families gathered in the same way, year after year, passing on wisdom and stories that have kept them strong in the face of darkness. The flame is not just light, it is the embodiment of survival, of resilience, and of love that has been passed down from generation to generation. In the quiet flicker of the lamp's light, you can almost hear the voices of your ancestors, their laughter and their struggles, their triumphs and their heartaches. You can imagine them sitting in the same room, huddled around the same flame, telling tales of their own hardships and joys, just as you do now. It is a humbling thought, knowing that the very light you rely on has been a constant presence in your family's life for as long as anyone can remember. And as you look at the faces of your loved ones gathered around the hearth, you see the future reflected in the soft, steady glow of the lamp. Your children, sitting by your side, will one day pass down these same traditions to their own children, sharing the same stories, the same warmth, the same bond of togetherness. The lamp, once again, will continue its silent watch over the generations, providing light in the darkest of times. It is a bridge between the past and the future, a link that connects all those who have come before and all those who will come after. There is something deeply comforting in knowing that, no matter how long the nights last, this light will always remain. The harshness of the Arctic winter may test your endurance, but the warmth of the lamp reminds you that, even in the most isolated corners of the world, you are never truly alone. You are part of something larger than yourself, a timeless, unbreakable chain of people who have come together in the dark, sharing stories and light, finding strength in each other's company. As the night wears on, you find yourself reflecting on how much these small flames represent. They are more than just a way to see in the dark. They are a testament to human perseverance, to the need for connection, and to the quiet moments that make life worth living. Each lamp flicker, each flame's glow, is a reminder that even in the darkest hours of life, when the world seems cold and unforgiving, there is light to be found in each other, in community, in the shared experiences that bind you together. And when you close your eyes to sleep, the last thing you see is the flickering light of the oil lamp, a soft, constant presence in the room, casting a warm glow on the faces of those you love. In its light, you find not only warmth and comfort, but also a sense of peace. You know that the light will still be there when you wake, just as it has been for countless generations before you. In this light, you find connection to the past, to the present, and to the future. It is a light that endures, a symbol of hope, survival, and the unbreakable bond of community. As you drift into sleep, the soft glow of the oil lamp lingers in your thoughts, its flicker gently imprinted on your mind. The lamp, though small in size, feels like a vast presence in the room, holding the weight of time and tradition in its flame. It seems to hum quietly, as if whispering stories of those who sat by its light before you, of struggles overcome, of laughter shared, of tears wiped away in the warmth of its embrace. In the stillness of the Arctic night, where the world outside is shrouded in cold and darkness, the lamp becomes your anchor. The chill that seeps through the walls and the silence that stretches beyond the reach of the flame seem distant now. As you settle deeper into sleep, you realize that the light of the lamp is not just a physical thing, it is the emotional warmth that ties everything together. It is the collective warmth of your family, your community, and your ancestors, wrapped up in one steady, unwavering flame. In your dreams, the flame continues to dance, casting its soft, golden light across endless landscapes. You dream of future generations, your children and their children, gathered around their own hearths, telling their own stories, carrying forward the traditions that were once passed down to you. In your dream, you are no longer just part of the present, you are also part of the long line of those who have lived here, under the same dark skies, their lives illuminated by the same flickering light. You feel a deep sense of peace, knowing that the cycle will continue. As the night deepens and the oil lamp's light dims, you are reminded that even though the sun has vanished for now, there is always light to be found. The lamps are a reminder that no matter how long the night lasts, no matter how bitter the cold or how endless the darkness, the warmth and light of community, of family, and of shared stories will always endure. The lamp is a beacon, a symbol of hope that, no matter how far you venture into the darkness, there is always a place to return, to a place where warmth, connection, and love can be found. When you wake, the room is still dark, but the lamp has not gone out. The soft flicker is still there, filling the space with its golden glow. It is a new day in the village, though the sun still slumbers beneath the horizon. The lamp continues to burn, as it always has, and as it will for many more nights to come. You rise from your bed, feeling the comforting warmth of the fire as you prepare for another day, knowing that the light will always be there to guide you. It is a light that is as constant as the village itself, enduring, resilient, and ever-present. In the Arctic polar night, where darkness reigns and time feels suspended, the oil lamps serve as more than just a practical necessity. They are the keepers of tradition, the bearers of warmth, and the silent witnesses to a life lived in harmony with the land. Their light will continue, as it has for generations, a steady flame that reminds you that even in the longest, darkest night, there is always a reason to keep going, always a reason to believe in the light that lives within the community, within the stories, and within you. As the evening settles in and the hours stretch on, the oil lamps take on an even deeper meaning. They are no longer just tools for lighting the room. They become symbols of constancy and security. The flame never falters, no matter how harsh the wind howls outside or how deep the cold creeps in. In their soft glow, you find solace, knowing that the rhythm of life will continue, just as it has for generations. You sit by the fire, knitting, reading, or simply resting, feeling the warmth of the lamps filling the room. As the village quiets down for the night, you realize how essential these small flames have become. Without them, the isolation of the Arctic night would feel even more intense, the darkness even more oppressive. But with the oil lamps, there is light. And in that light, there is life, a life that carries on, protected and nurtured by the simple act of lighting a lamp. The oil lamps, glowing gently in the stillness of the night, are more than just light. They are the presence of warmth, of community, and of the unbroken spirit of those who call this place home. As the evening deepens, the flickering light of the oil lamps begins to take on a timeless quality. Each flame seems to carry with it the weight of centuries, the legacy of those who have come before you, lighting their way through the same cold, the same darkness. The lamps are not merely a means of survival, they are a thread that ties the present to the past, a connection to a world of ancestors who faced the same trials, who once sat by these same fires, holding on to the same warmth in the midst of the relentless night. The shadows they cast on the walls are not just shapes, but memories of stories shared by the fire, of lessons learned in the quiet moments of the dark, of generations gathered together in the warmth. You realize that these lamps are more than just practical tools. They are guardians of memory, symbols of endurance. Each time you trim the wick or refill the oil, you're performing an act of remembrance, acknowledging that the struggle to survive, to keep the darkness at bay, is a shared one, and that the light you now enjoy has been preserved by those who came before you. Sitting there, you allow the rhythm of the fire to guide you into a reflective stillness. The night outside may be vast and unyielding, but here, within the embrace of the lamp's glow, you feel a sense of belonging that transcends the isolation of the Arctic. There is a profound peace in knowing that no matter how fierce the winds howl or how long the winter night stretches, the community of the village will endure. The oil lamps stand as a testament to that endurance, a promise that, despite the cold and the darkness, life will go on. You glance around the room, seeing the familiar faces of your family, their expressions softened by the warm glow. There is comfort in this closeness, a reassurance that no one faces the dark alone. The lamps, with their steady light, are more than just a means of seeing. They are a reminder that the bonds between you are stronger than the cold that surrounds the village. In their light, you find a quiet strength, a reminder that, even in the harshest of winters, there is warmth, there is life, and there is love. The wind outside may howl, and the cold may press against the walls, but within this small room, you are safe. The flickering light of the oil lamps keeps the dark at bay, just as the strength of the village keeps you grounded. It is a simple, yet profound act, this lighting of the lamps. But in that simple act lies the essence of life in the Arctic, the unwavering will to keep moving forward, to preserve warmth, to hold on to community, and to never let the darkness fully consume the light. As the night stretches on, the lamps continue to glow gently, their flames steady and strong, and in that soft, steady light, you find not just the reassurance that the night will pass, but the certainty that as long as the lamps burn, there will always be a way to navigate through the dark. Even in the harshest of conditions, life carries on protected, nurtured, and sustained by the quiet, enduring light of the oil lamps. The night continues its quiet march forward, the stillness almost tangible, as though the entire village is wrapped in a peaceful slumber, safe in the embrace of the oil lamp's light. As the flames dance softly, you find yourself lost in the comfort of their steady rhythm, each flicker a small affirmation that life, despite the darkness, will endure. You begin to notice how much the lamps have become a part of your life. Their glow, a marker of time, a constant companion through the long, dark nights. The village, though isolated from the rest of the world, feels more connected than ever. The small, flickering flames are like threads that bind everyone together, no matter how far apart they may be in the vast snowy wilderness. The oil lamps are a silent witness to the daily rituals of survival, the quiet moments of sharing meals, of telling stories, of knitting clothes for warmth, of caring for the animals that are essential to life here. The flames symbolize more than just light. They symbolize unity, continuity, and the collective effort to live through the long, harsh winters. You glance out the window, where the night seems infinite, the snow gently falling, blanketing the world in a soft, quiet hush. The wind howls, but it feels distant, as though it has no power to penetrate the sanctuary of your home. Inside, you are sheltered not just from the cold, but from the overwhelming vastness of the Arctic. The warmth from the lamps, the fire, and the hearth wrap around you, cocooning you in a world that feels safe and familiar. The cold outside can do its worst, but in here, in the light of these small, steady flames, you are protected. The soft glow of the oil lamps also carries a certain weight, one that grows heavier with the passing of the night. It's not just the light itself, but what it represents. The lamps are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the ability to endure even the harshest conditions, and to the quiet strength that sustains life when everything else is submerged in darkness. You realize that, though the night may seem unending, there is a deeper rhythm at work here. The steady glow of the lamps serves as a reminder that even in the most isolated places, light and life are always within reach if you know where to look. As the hours wear on and the room grows quieter, the lamp's light begins to feel almost sacred. It is no longer just a light source, but a presence in the room, something almost alive, flickering with purpose. You feel connected to every person who has ever sat beside one of these lamps, from the ancestors whose stories have been passed down through generations, to the generations to come who will sit in this same room, bathed in the same soft glow. The lamp carries with it the weight of history, of survival, and of a legacy that stretches back into time. You sit there, knowing that as long as these lamps burn, you are never truly alone. In their light, there is always warmth. In their glow, there is always hope. And as the night stretches on, you realize that it is not just the cold that defines life here in the Arctic, it is the warmth of these small, steadfast flames that truly make life possible. Each night spent in their light becomes a new chapter in a story of endurance, connection, and quiet strength. Tomorrow will come, just as it always does, and the lamps will continue to burn, steady and strong. The days may be long, the darkness unyielding, but the oil lamps, these tiny, humble flames, will carry on, reminding you that no matter how harsh the world outside may be, inside there is always light, always warmth, and always community. And with that, you know that, despite the cold and the dark, life will continue to glow brightly, just like the steady light of the oil lamps. Without the sun to mark the passing of time, days in the Arctic polar night blur into one another. The usual markers of morning, noon, and night fade, leaving only the rhythmic flow of life. There are no sharp divisions between day and night here. The Arctic darkness doesn't demand a schedule. It invites you to move according to your own natural rhythm. You wake not because the sun has risen, but because your body feels the call to start the day. The work, the chores, the tasks all flow into one another with ease, moving like the tides, as if time itself has softened, becoming something fluid, bendable. Without clocks or sunlight, you find that the passage of time is no longer measured by the ticking of seconds or the sun's steady arc. Instead, the hours stretch and blend together, indistinguishable, as each moment folds seamlessly into the next. The soft flicker of the oil lamps, the gentle hum of everyday activities, create a quiet cadence that becomes your sense of time. The day's work, chopping wood, tending to the animals, preparing meals becomes a familiar rhythm that you live by. You move through it almost instinctively, as if following an invisible guide, each moment folding into the next without haste. In this eternal night, sleep, work, and rest aren't strictly scheduled, but instead follow their own natural course. There is no rush to any of it. Without the sun's harsh reminder that time is passing, the day feels timeless. The work that sustains you, whether it's making bread, mending clothing, or feeding the animals, flows together as part of the same ongoing cycle. These tasks, while necessary for survival, become grounding rituals that mark the passage of time, not by the clock, but by their quiet repetition. The absence of the sun doesn't bring chaos or confusion, but rather a gentle stillness that settles over everything. There's a comfort in knowing that the passage of time is no longer something that must be chased or measured. Instead, you live in harmony with the rhythm of the world around you. The work you do, the moments you spend with loved ones, and the simple act of being become the markers of time. You don't need the sun to tell you when to start or stop. You feel it within yourself, moving through the day as naturally as the flickering light from the oil lamps. As evening approaches, you notice how the deepening shadows and the steady glow of the lamps create a sense of calm. There are no bustling crowds or bustling streets here, no clocks to announce that the day is over. The end of the day comes when the tasks are done, when the animals are fed, and when the warmth of the fire begins to settle in. The world outside might be endless night, but inside, the soft glow of the oil lamps feels like a steady heartbeat, providing a rhythm that feels both timeless and eternal. The stillness of the night becomes more than just the absence of daylight. It becomes a space for reflection, for quiet moments that stretch into eternity. There's a beauty in the way everything slows down, allowing you to appreciate the simple things. The crackling of the fire, the soft hum of conversation, the sound of knitting needles clicking in time with the rhythm of the world around you. The night no longer feels like a void, but a canvas filled with moments of peace and connection. Sleep comes as naturally as the evening settles in, unhurried and without the urgency of the outside world. It is a rest that feels more like a continuation of the day rather than an end to it. The line between waking and sleeping begins to blur as the tasks of the day flow seamlessly into the quiet slumber of the night. There's no rush to fall asleep, no ticking clock to push you into bed. Instead, you sleep when your body is ready, when the world inside your home is quiet and safe. In this eternal night, time is no longer something to be controlled or bound by hours and minutes. It becomes a gentle current, carrying you through the day with ease, unburdened by the expectations of the outside world. The cycle of sleep, work, and rest is endless, but it is not monotonous. Each moment flows naturally into the next, creating a peaceful, almost meditative sense of continuity. The absence of sunlight doesn't steal your sense of time. It gives you the freedom to live without the constraints of the ticking clock, to embrace the timelessness of the night. This endless rhythm becomes your reality. The cold, the dark, and the night are no longer burdens to bear, but elements of the landscape in which you have learned to move and thrive. And as the cycle continues, you begin to see that time, in this Arctic world, isn't something to fight against or fear. It's something to live with, to feel, and to experience in a way that is uniquely your own. The eternal night becomes not a prison, but a space for reflection, connection, and understanding. As the night deepens and stretches endlessly, you begin to embrace this softer sense of time. There is peace in the absence of the sun, in the unhurried pace of life. Without the pressure of daylight pushing you forward, there's a deep, reflective quality to the night. The tasks of the day slowly wind down, leaving space for rest, for quiet conversation, for connection with the people around you. The steady cadence of the oil lamps flickering in the darkness becomes a comforting reminder that life continues, even when the sun is nowhere to be seen. When you rest, sleep doesn't feel like an interruption of the day. It's just another natural part of the rhythm of the night. You lay down, knowing that the cold outside is held at bay by the warmth inside, and the steady light of the lamps fills the space. The rhythm of the night is gentle, undemanding. As the evening deepens, the sense of time becomes even more fluid. It's not about rushing through the hours, but about savoring each one, moving through the darkness at your own pace, guided by your own inner clock. In these long, dark hours, you begin to realize that time is no longer an external force pushing you forward. Instead, it becomes something you feel within you, a gentle presence guiding you through the night. The days may be indistinguishable, but there's a beauty in their repetition. Each moment lived is a small victory, a shared experience that connects you with the past, the present, and those who will follow. The darkness, once overwhelming, now feels comforting, even familiar. Time here is something you live with, not against. And in this eternal night, you find a deeper connection with the rhythm of life itself. As the night stretches on, you begin to embrace a quiet intimacy with the world around you. The steady ticking of life moves on, without the rush of the sun's inevitable rise and fall. The rhythm of the night has its own pulse, unseen but felt in every flicker of the lamp, in every whispered conversation, in every shared glance. You no longer try to measure time with any urgency, for there is no rush. There is only the soft flow of moments, each one precious because it exists in this unique, uninterrupted stillness. The silence in the room is not empty but full of life, full of connection. The oil lamps that flicker softly against the dark become more than just light. They are companions in the stillness, gentle reminders that even in the absence of the sun, there is a light to be found, a warmth to share. The outside world may be locked in the depths of endless night, but within these walls, the rhythm of life continues, a steady heartbeat in the midst of the cold. You find yourself learning to savor the quiet, to listen deeply to the soft sounds that fill the night, the crackle of the fire, the distant whisper of the wind, the occasional murmur of someone speaking, or the soft click of knitting needles. These sounds, once taken for granted, now hold a deeper meaning. They are the pulse of life here, the heartbeat of your home, of your village. In this quiet, in this unhurried rhythm, you begin to understand that time is not something to chase, but something to live within. Even as the hours melt into one another, you feel no sense of loss, no anxiety that the world outside is moving too quickly. Instead, you feel a quiet satisfaction that you are part of a different kind of flow, a more natural one, not ruled by clocks, but by the ebb and flow of life itself. The days blend into each other, but each moment carries its own weight, its own beauty. There is no need to look at the clock, because the time you spend here is not counted in minutes, but in meaning, in memories, and in the quiet moments of connection that build the foundation of your existence. Sleep becomes a continuation of the night rather than an interruption. It is a soft surrender, a way of allowing yourself to be fully immersed in the rhythm of the night. When you close your eyes, you feel as though you're part of the fabric of the dark woven into it, connected to it. The long night does not feel endless, but rather eternal, a moment that stretches out in a gentle wave. The dreamless sleep is a rest, not just for the body, but for the spirit. The quiet of the dark world outside becomes the quiet of your own thoughts, undisturbed by the pull of the Sunday. In the morning, or what passes for it when you open your eyes, you find that the rhythm of life continues as it always has. There is no urgency to the new day, no sense of being behind or out of sync. The world outside may still be trapped in the unyielding darkness, but inside there is warmth, there is community, and there is peace in knowing that time flows at its own pace. The oil lamps continue to glow softly, their steady presence a reminder that life, no matter how dark or cold, will always find its way through. Each day, though indistinguishable from the one before, holds the quiet assurance that you are part of something greater, something timeless and enduring. And so, with each passing moment, you find yourself more attuned to the natural rhythm of life in the Arctic night, learning to embrace it, live within it, and find peace in its steady, undemanding flow. As the days continue to blend together, you realize that this slow, undemanding rhythm is not only about survival, but about truly living in harmony with the world around you. The Arctic night, once intimidating, now feels like a familiar companion, its vastness no longer overwhelming. The endless darkness becomes less of an obstacle and more of a quiet backdrop to the simplicity of your life. It is in this stillness that you find a deeper understanding of yourself and of those around you. The work you do, once simply necessary for survival, begins to feel sacred. Each task you perform, whether it's chopping wood, sewing clothes, or preparing meals, becomes a ritual of connection, not just to the physical world, but to the generations that have lived here before you. You imagine your ancestors who endured the same cold, the same darkness, with the same quiet strength. Their legacy is woven into every action you take, every choice you make. As you sit by the fire at night, knitting or telling stories, you know that these small, everyday moments are what have kept this village alive for centuries. And it's these same moments that will carry it forward, keeping the spirit of resilience alive for those who come after you. In the absence of the sun, there is space for reflection. The long nights give you time to think, to contemplate the past, the present, and the future. There are no distractions here, no busy schedules to keep, no bright lights or noise to fill the void. Instead, there is only the deep, soothing quiet that allows your thoughts to roam freely. You think about the stories your family has passed down through the generations, about the lessons learned in the harshest winters, and about the small joys that have made this life meaningful. The rhythm of the night is an invitation to slow down, to appreciate the quiet, and to remember the things that matter most. In the quiet, you also begin to realize that the night isn't just a time of rest or contemplation, it's a time of renewal. As the dark stretches on, it gives you the opportunity to restore not just your body, but your spirit. The absence of sunlight may seem like an absence of life, but in truth, it is a fertile ground for growth. Just as the earth rests beneath the snow, so too does your mind and heart rest in the dark. You are given the time and space to heal, to reflect, and to prepare for the moments when the sun will return. And though the return of the sun seems far away, it is not something you long for with impatience. Instead, you find peace in the knowledge that the cycles of life, like the cycles of the seasons, are inevitable. The sun will come back, just as the night will fade into day. The eternal night of the Arctic polar winter is simply a chapter in the greater story of life, a story that moves forward, shaped by the rhythm of time and the steady pulse of the world around you. As you move through this rhythm, you begin to feel a deep sense of gratitude for the simplicity of it all. Life in the Arctic polar night has taught you to appreciate the small moments, the warmth of the fire, the shared stories, the quiet connection with others, and the comfort of knowing that time, though intangible, is always present. There is no rush, no need to chase it. Instead, you live in it, move through it, and allow it to carry you forward at its own pace. And so, as another night falls and the lamp's glow flickers softly in the dark, you realize that time, in its purest form, is not something you need to measure. It is something you simply experience in the stillness of the Arctic night, where every moment is woven into the next, creating a timeless rhythm that will continue long after the darkness fades. In the vast emptiness of the Arctic night, solitude takes on a different meaning. It is not about being alone, nor does it carry the sense of isolation that might come to mind. Instead, solitude here is a kind of peaceful coexistence with the surrounding environment, a space where the soul can breathe and reflect in the stillness. The Arctic night, with its endless expanse of darkness and quiet, doesn't separate you from the world around you. It invites you into a deeper connection with it. The cold, the quiet, the dark, they are not barriers, but threads woven into the fabric of life here. In the absence of external distractions, the darkness becomes a canvas for inner reflection. The silence, rather than feeling oppressive, feels soothing, a gentle invitation to slow down, to be present, and to listen more closely to the world around you. The Arctic landscape, though vast and imposing, becomes an extension of your own thoughts and emotions. The stillness is not empty, but filled with meaning, offering a space to hear the soft murmurs of the earth beneath the snow, the whisper of the wind as it moves through the barren land. In this solitude, you are free to reflect, to dream, to become attuned to the natural rhythm of life. The darkness, rather than creating separation, deepens your understanding of the world and your place within it. It becomes a quiet companion, allowing you to hear your own thoughts more clearly and to connect more deeply with your surroundings. The solitude here is a stillness that calms the mind, a pause from the chaos of the outside world, where you can simply be. It's a moment of profound peace in which you find clarity, both in your thoughts and in the world around you. As the night deepens and stretches on, you begin to understand that solitude in the Arctic isn't something to endure, but something to embrace. It is a rare kind of peace that allows you to shed the noise and distractions of the outside world and to tune into the quieter, more subtle rhythms that govern your existence. In this vast, cold landscape, there is space to think, to breathe, and to simply be. There is no rush, no urgency, no pressure to be anything other than what you are in this moment. The silence offers a profound gift, the opportunity to reconnect with yourself, with nature, and with the deeper currents of life that usually go unnoticed. In this stillness, you are reminded that solitude is not loneliness. It is a form of union, a way of becoming more attuned to the world around you. The Arctic night, while enveloping, doesn't separate you from life. It draws you closer to it. Every snowflake that falls, every whisper of wind, every distant crack of ice shifting under the weight of the land, these become part of your experience. They are not isolated sounds, but are threads in a greater tapestry that binds you to this moment, this place, and this time. The endless horizon of snow and sky, stretching out under the dark velvet of night, seems infinite, but it feels intimately connected to you. The cold, the dark, the silence, they are not obstacles, but invitations to experience the world in its most raw, unfiltered form. The beauty of this environment lies not in its grandeur, but in its subtlety, in the way it speaks to you without words. The Arctic landscape, in its stark, unyielding silence, holds within it a kind of wisdom that only solitude can unlock. As you sit in the stillness, the sharpness of the cold air filling your lungs, you feel a deep sense of clarity. The mind, so often cluttered with distractions, quiets in this vast, empty space. Your thoughts become sharper, more focused, and free from the usual noise. It's in these moments of solitude that you begin to understand the delicate balance between yourself and the world around you. The vastness of the Arctic doesn't dwarf you, it makes you feel more connected to everything, as if the land itself is whispering its ancient truths, offering them to you in the quiet. This solitude, this space between you and the world, becomes a powerful force for reflection. It offers you a chance to look inward, to explore parts of yourself that are often drowned out by the busyness of everyday life. Here, in the darkness, you have the time and space to ask the questions that rarely get asked. Who are you in the absence of external validation? What do you truly need to survive? What is it that you've been seeking? And what do you already have? These questions are answered not with words, but with the soft murmur of the land, the gentle sway of the wind, and the deep, abiding stillness that settles in your heart. As the long night deepens, you begin to feel less isolated, less separated from the world around you. Solitude here does not isolate, it unites. It connects you with the land, with the people around you, and with the generations who have lived through these same cold, dark months. Solitude becomes not a burden, but a gift, a chance to listen, to understand, and to connect in a way that only this place, this time, and this stillness can offer. In the endless night of the Arctic, you find not emptiness, but an abundance, a space full of meaning, full of life, full of possibility. And in that solitude, you find yourself more deeply and more fully than you ever could have imagined. As you continue to dwell in this solitude, you begin to feel the quiet magic of the Arctic night weaving itself into your being. The stillness of the land, the silence that blankets everything, slowly starts to feel less like isolation and more like an intimate connection with the universe itself. You realize that the vastness of the wilderness is not something to fear, but something to cherish. It is a canvas for reflection, a space that allows you to delve deeper into yourself and into the world that surrounds you. Here, in the heart of the Arctic, where the night never ends, you find the kind of peace that eludes those who live in the rush and noise of the world outside. The more you sit in the quiet, the more you begin to understand that solitude is not something to be filled or escaped from. It is something to be embraced, nurtured, and respected. The absence of external noise and distractions has a way of amplifying the voice within. The small, often overlooked thoughts that normally get drowned out in the busyness of life come to the surface. The Arctic night becomes your personal mirror, reflecting back parts of yourself that were once hidden. You come to realize that the darkness around you is not just a lack of light, but a space in which everything, every thought, every feeling, every hope can grow and expand in its own time. As the days slip by in this eternal night, the sense of solitude begins to shift, taking on a new, more profound meaning. The isolation you once feared now feels like a sanctuary, a sacred place where you can be truly yourself, without the pressure of outside expectations. You begin to appreciate the stillness, the way it allows you to reconnect with what truly matters. The simplicity of life here, without the distractions of the outside world, brings a new sense of clarity. You start to see how the small acts of survival, tending to the animals, preparing food, sharing stories are not mere tasks, but expressions of a deeper bond. Each action is a reaffirmation of life, a reminder that even in the most challenging conditions, there is beauty, there is connection, and there is purpose. In the quiet, you also begin to understand the value of human connection in a new light. The solitude does not distance you from others, it pulls you closer to them. You realize that the bonds you share with those around you, whether family or fellow villagers, are stronger because they are forged in the same silence, in the same long nights. The shared experiences, the simple acts of caring and companionship become even more meaningful when there is nothing else to distract you. In a world where time seems to slow, the moments spent with others become sacred, treasured in a way they never could be in the rush of daily life. With each passing night, the quiet becomes less about loneliness and more about the depth of connection. You share the darkness with others, and in that shared silence, you find a unity that words alone could never capture. The long hours spent together around the flickering light of the oil lamps create an unspoken bond. There is no need for constant chatter when the presence of each person is enough. The stillness of the Arctic night becomes a language in itself, a language spoken in glances, in the warmth of a touch, in the shared understanding that, despite the endless darkness, you are together in this journey. As the long night continues, you realize that the solitude you once feared is not something to be avoided or conquered, but something to be lived with. It is a companion that has always been with you, waiting for you to recognize its quiet beauty. And in this realization, you discover a deeper sense of peace, a peace that comes not from escaping the darkness, but from learning to live within it, to find comfort and connection in the stillness. The Arctic night, with all its vast emptiness, has become a space for growth, for reflection, and for understanding. In the solitude, you have found not just yourself, but a stronger connection to those around you and to the land that sustains you. And as the darkness stretches on, you know that this is not an end, but a beginning of understanding, of embracing the quiet, and of finding connection in the most unlikely places. While solitude in the Arctic night can be peaceful, it's also clear that survival in such an environment requires connection. In this world of endless darkness, people find comfort not in isolation but in one another. The long, cold nights, the unrelenting cold of the land, and the absence of the sun force the community to rely on each other in ways that create a bond stronger than any external force. The isolation of the landscape becomes a shared experience, one that brings people closer rather than pushing them apart. The shared warmth of the fire, the familiar faces gathered around the hearth, and the quiet conversations that stretch long into the night become the threads that tie the community together. The act of coming together in the face of the darkness is a powerful one. It is a reminder that, no matter how harsh the outside world may be, the people within the walls of the home offer strength, comfort, and warmth to one another. The cold may permeate the world outside, but within the community there is heat, both literal and emotional. The long nights force a deep sense of reliance on one another. People share more than just physical warmth. They share stories, memories, and laughter. They listen to each other's concerns, offer support during difficult times, and celebrate small joys in the quiet of the evening. It is through this mutual support that they are able to endure the harsh, unyielding nights. This reliance on community becomes a cornerstone of survival, not just in the physical sense, but in the emotional and psychological sense as well. It is in these moments of connection, of shared vulnerability, that the village grows stronger. Through this reliance on one another, human connection becomes a force that transcends the darkness. In a place where the world outside may feel overwhelmingly empty, the presence of others creates a space of belonging, of warmth, and of shared strength. Solitude may offer moments of reflection, but it is the connection with others that makes the long nights bearable. In the vast Arctic night, the strength of the human spirit woven through community and shared experience, becomes the light that illuminates the darkness. As the nights stretch on, the importance of community only grows. In the absence of sunlight, the people of the village are not just surviving, they are living through the shared experiences, the collective strength that each person brings. The bonds formed in the face of such isolation are unbreakable, forged through the simple, everyday acts of care and consideration. Whether it's preparing a meal together, offering a kind word, or simply sitting in quiet company, each act becomes a thread that strengthens the tapestry of their existence. In the long, dark hours, conversations flow like the crackling of the fire, steady and comforting. They share memories of past winters, stories of hardship, of love, of loss, and triumph. These shared histories become the foundation upon which the community stands, a living record of endurance and hope passed down from one generation to the next. As the cold winds howl outside and the snow piles higher inside the homes, people find warmth not only from the fire, but from the connection they share. The laughter and light-hearted moments, though sparse, serve as a reminder that joy, too, can thrive in the darkest of times. But it's not just in moments of celebration that the power of connection is felt. It's also in the quieter times, in the unspoken gestures. When someone is ill, a neighbor brings food. When the weight of the long winter feels unbearable, a simple touch on the shoulder or a shared cup of tea becomes a lifeline. The deep, unspoken understanding between the villagers becomes as vital as the warmth from the hearth. This quiet solidarity, born from necessity and nurtured by compassion, becomes the strength that holds the community together. It is in these small, almost invisible acts of care that the true power of connection reveals itself. As the community gathers in the evenings, the long hours of darkness do not seem as endless. The shared presence of others fills the space, turning solitude into togetherness. The act of being with others in the dark hours makes the night feel shorter, the cold less biting. The physical warmth of the fire is important, but it's the emotional warmth, the shared strength, the quiet reassurance that truly nourishes. It becomes clear that the cold may be outside, but inside the circle of the community, there is a warmth that cannot be extinguished. The long nights, once a symbol of isolation, have now become a time of deep connection. The Arctic winter teaches you that survival isn't just about enduring the cold, but about finding ways to share warmth with others, whether that's through physical acts of kindness, the exchange of stories, or simply sitting together in silence, knowing you're not alone. The shared experience of the polar night transforms the community. It makes it stronger, more resilient, and more united. And as the cycle continues, the sense of connection grows deeper. The harshness of the environment only highlights the strength that lies within the community. In this quiet, dark world, the true light comes not from the sun, but from the people you share it with. Together, you face the Arctic night, and together, you find ways to shine even in the darkness. In the end, it's not just the warmth of the fire that keeps you alive, it's the warmth of each other's hearts, and the bond of shared experience that makes the long nights bearable and the harsh world outside feel a little less cold. As the nights stretch on, the sense of togetherness grows even stronger, becoming an unspoken promise to each other. The community, once simply a group of people sharing space, now feels like a family bound not by blood but by experience, trust, and mutual reliance. There is a profound sense of gratitude in the simplicity of this connection, the understanding that no one is ever truly alone, not as long as the warmth of the village is shared. In these long, endless nights, people come to realize that the strength of the village lies in the quiet presence of one another, in the knowledge that even the most solitary moments can be made bearable when shared. In the solitude of the Arctic night, the dark becomes a space for the community to connect in ways they never could have imagined in the rush of everyday life. Here, where the wind and snow may feel like the only forces at play, the people of the village find resilience in their unity. They find solace in the sound of familiar voices, the laughter that rings out from the hearth, and the comfort of knowing that the day's challenges are faced together. The bonds between them grow not just from the necessity of survival, but from the profound understanding that life is made richer by shared moments, whether joyful or sorrowful. The nights, which once seemed endless and full of uncertainty, now feel like a shared adventure. As the village gathers, sharing stories, meals, and laughter around the fire, you realize that the long, dark hours are no longer something to fear. Instead, they have become a space for connection, a space where the deeper rhythms of life are felt and shared in unison. The firelight, though small, grows brighter with each passing story, with each shared experience. The warmth of the hearth mirrors the warmth of the bonds being forged, and in this space, the dark is not a void but a canvas, upon which the village paints a portrait of unity and survival. In this way, the Arctic night teaches a deep lesson in human connection, that even in the most isolated places, even when faced with the harshest conditions, it is the strength of the community that truly sustains life. The oil lamps may flicker, the wind may howl, and the cold may press against the walls, but the love, the care, and the connection between people become the real force that keeps the night at bay. In these long, dark months, the bonds of community are not just a matter of necessity, they are a choice to share warmth, to offer support, and to stand together in the face of the cold. When you rest at night, your mind at peace with the quiet connection of the village, you realize that the true light of the polar night isn't found in the flickering lamps or the fire, but in the hearts of the people around you. It's a light that cannot be extinguished, no matter how fierce the winds outside may blow, no matter how deep the cold may reach. As long as there is community, as long as there is connection, the darkness will never be total. The shared warmth, the shared spirit, and the shared strength of the people will always find a way to light the way forward through even the longest, coldest nights. In this Arctic world, where solitude and connection exist side by side, you learn that survival is not just about physical endurance, it is about the relationships you build, the moments you share, and the community you foster. Together, in the quiet, unyielding darkness, you find the true meaning of light. In the absence of natural light, the villagers learn to sleep in ways that are entirely different from what you might expect. Without the sun to set clear boundaries between day and night, the rhythm of sleep becomes softer, more fluid. The long nights stretch endlessly, with no clear demarcation of when one day ends and another begins. This lack of daylight blurs the lines between waking and dreaming, turning sleep into something more elusive, almost like a continuation of the day rather than a separate, distinct time. At night, when the oil lamps flicker low and the sounds of the outside world fall silent, Sleep takes on a different quality. It doesn't come in the usual way, with the inevitable pull of darkness signaling the end of the day. Here, sleep is like a slow, gentle drift, a surrender to the stillness of the night. It is not hurried or rushed. The mind, freed from the usual distractions of daylight, floats into a dreamlike state where reality and imagination weave together. You are not just sleeping, you are entering a world where the boundaries between the conscious and subconscious dissolve, and where the darkness becomes a canvas for the mind's wanderings. The long hours of the Arctic night provide an opportunity for the mind to explore freely. Without the interruption of sunlight, your dreams are vivid, expansive, and often carry a depth that's difficult to describe. The dark, endless hours allow your thoughts to stretch and wander, to be free from the constraints of the waking world. Your dreams become a landscape all their own, filled with images, sounds, and feelings that shift and change, sometimes with a logic all their own. It is a time when the mind is untethered, allowed to roam and explore the deep hidden corners of your subconscious. In this timeless darkness, sleep becomes an adventure in itself, a journey to parts of the mind that are often left unexplored. The absence of daylight leaves your mind untethered, free to wander through the labyrinth of dreams without the constraints of reality to guide it. Thoughts that are usually buried deep within your consciousness rise to the surface, and the quiet of the night allows you to observe them with a clarity you wouldn't have during the rush of daylight. The dreams you experience are not confined to the usual patterns of the waking world. They are vivid, sometimes surreal, and often infused with elements of the world around you: the cold, the isolation, the vastness of the land blending with your deepest desires, fears, and memories. The long hours of the night, where the horizon remains perpetually shrouded in darkness, turn into a fluid space where time no longer has the power to control you. The rhythmic flow of sleep and dreams becomes your natural state, and the boundary between the two blurs entirely. You find that when you sleep, you're not just resting, you're participating in an ongoing experience, as if you're half in the waking world and half in a dream. Your mind drifts, unbound, through the landscape of the subconscious, roaming freely, weaving through memories, hopes, and strange, unexplained imaginings. When you wake in the middle of the night, whether it's to the distant howl of a wolf, the crackling of the fire, or the soft shift of your own body, the stillness is profound. You don't feel rushed to fall back asleep. Instead, you lie there, letting the dreamlike state linger, feeling the pulse of the night moving through you. The absence of the sun allows you to feel like you're floating in a timeless space, one where the normal rules of time and space no longer apply. The long stretches of darkness are not a burden but a luxury, an invitation to explore the deeper layers of your mind, to find meaning in the hidden corners that daytime often pushes aside. And yet, sleep here is not just about drifting off into a world of dreams. It is also about restoration, the deep kind of rest that only the stillness of the Arctic night can provide. Without the pressing demands of daylight, without the rush of the outside world, sleep becomes a way of recharging, a moment to reset not only the body but the spirit. In the endless night, sleep feels like a gift, a pause, a chance to regain strength for the next cycle of days, however indistinct they may seem. The dreams themselves, often shapeless, seem to spill out of the mind with the fluidity of the night. Sometimes they are full of symbols, visions of wide, open landscapes where you wander aimlessly, lost in the quiet beauty of the white wilderness. Other times, they are filled with deep emotions, longing, nostalgia, fear, all brought to the surface by the gentle, dreamlike sway of the night. It is in this undisturbed silence that you can dive into the deepest corners of yourself and discover parts of you that daylight keeps hidden away. But even in the deepest slumber, you are never truly alone. The Arctic night, vast and isolating as it may seem, is filled with the shared presence of the village. Each person, sleeping in their own home, is part of the same endless night, connected by the shared experience of this vast, dark space. The silence, rather than separating you, makes you feel closer to them, as though the distance between homes and hearts is diminished. You dream not only of your own world, but of theirs, too, of the community that surrounds you, of the shared survival and quiet companionship that is woven into the fabric of the night. And as the hours stretch on and the darkness deepens, the line between sleep and waking, between dreaming and living, becomes ever more fluid. The night is not just something that happens when you close your eyes. It is a part of you, an extension of the community, and a reminder that time in the Arctic flows not in the linear fashion we're accustomed to, but in the quiet, endless ebb of the dark, where sleep and dreams coexist and the mind is free to roam without boundaries. As the long hours of darkness unfold, the boundaries between reality and dreams continue to dissolve. You begin to realize that sleep here is not merely a passive state of rest, but an active journey into a world where the subconscious takes the lead. In the vast quiet of the Arctic night, there is a feeling of timelessness, where moments stretch into eternity, and each dream feels as vivid and real as the world outside. The lack of sunlight becomes a catalyst for deeper exploration of your mind. With no external markers of time, you are free to drift through memories, past experiences, and even distant futures. The darkness invites a profound sense of stillness, allowing thoughts to rise and settle like snowflakes, slow and deliberate. Dreams become more than just a mixture of random images and feelings. They become a reflection of the inner world, where thoughts from the day's work, emotions stirred by the cold, and the quiet conversations around the hearth bleed together into a landscape uniquely your own. You find yourself dreaming not only of the Arctic landscape, vast, silent, and endless, but of the very essence of the land itself, the stillness of the frozen tundra, the silence of the falling snow, becomes a part of you, filling your thoughts even when you wake. In your dreams, the cold of the Arctic is not something to be feared. It is a presence, one that reminds you of your place within the grand rhythm of nature. The dreams feel almost like a language, one that is spoken not through words, but through sensations, emotions, and the quiet understanding of the land's unyielding beauty. When you wake from these dreams, there is no rush to start the day. The Arctic night, in its eternal silence, grants you the luxury of taking your time. The gentle light of the oil lamps flickers softly, offering warmth in contrast to the cold that lingers outside. The boundary between dream and waking is so thin that you feel as though you could slip back into your dreams at any moment, to once again explore the vast, quiet world that exists behind your closed eyes. The stillness of the room, the slow creak of the wood, and the occasional whisper of the wind outside all weave together, grounding you in the present, while the remnants of your dreams continue to drift at the edges of your thoughts. In the quiet hours, the mind is free to wander, and sometimes It leads you into places you've never been before, into memories you've forgotten, or into desires you've never fully acknowledged. The Arctic night becomes a sanctuary for introspection, a space where the inner landscape can unfold, and where sleep and dreaming become intertwined with self-discovery. You start to see sleep not just as a necessity, but as a part of life's natural cycle. Just as the earth rests beneath the snow, so too does your mind find rest in the quiet darkness. And in the way that the Arctic stillness allows for profound silence, it also grants the mind space to process, to heal, and to dream. Here, sleep and dreaming are not isolated events, but extensions of the rhythm of life, an essential part of the community's survival, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And so, the night continues, deep and uninterrupted, allowing you to rest in its embrace. Each night is a continuation of the last, a never-ending loop that you've come to accept as a natural part of life here. The hours pass without measure, as the dreams and thoughts of the night come together, weaving a tapestry that stretches across the still, silent hours. The darkness, once a void, now feels like a sanctuary, a space for reflection, connection, and rest. It is not just a time to sleep, but a time to enter the depths of your own mind, where time, space, and reality blend into one, and where the Arctic night becomes a world all its own. In this world of unbroken night, the darkness transforms into a sanctuary. It is not a void, but a space where the mind is free to wander, to rest, and to dream. The absence of light creates a peaceful quiet that wraps around you, allowing you to let go of the weight of the waking world. It is in this sanctuary that sleep becomes a journey of its own. The quiet darkness is not an absence of activity, but a fertile ground for rest, introspection, and exploration. The long, quiet hours invite you to surrender to the natural rhythm of sleep. You find that sleep, instead of being a break from the day, becomes a continuation of the day's flow. The darkness offers a soothing embrace, a gentle invitation to enter a state where the mind is free to drift and wander without the distractions of the world outside. Your dreams take on a life of their own, intertwining with your thoughts and memories, often blending past, present, and future into a single, fluid experience. As the village sleeps, each person is lost in their own personal journey through the darkness. The shared experience of the long, dark nights becomes something collective, a space where everyone, though physically separate, is connected in their journey of rest and reflection. The darkness becomes not just a time to sleep, but a shared sanctuary where each person can explore their dreams, where the unconscious mind can roam free without limits. In this world of perpetual night, sleep is not just a necessary function of the body, it becomes an art, a practice in letting go, and a chance to reconnect with parts of yourself that you may not have known existed. Dreams, once fleeting and disconnected from the reality of daylight, now become integral to the experience of living here. They are shaped by the rhythm of the night, and in the quiet, endless hours, they find their way into your waking thoughts. Here, in the dark sanctuary of the Arctic night, sleep and dreams are not separate from life. They are a continuation of it, a vital part of the cycle that allows you to survive the endless winter, and perhaps even to thrive within it. As the darkness stretches on, you begin to understand that sleep in the Arctic night is not simply a retreat from the world, but a deepening of your connection with it. The quiet, the stillness, and the absence of light become catalysts for something profound. Sleep no longer feels like an interruption, but an extension of the day, a necessary pause that allows your mind to reconnect with itself and the world around you. The Arctic night offers the gift of space, space to relax, to rest, and to surrender fully to the cycles of your body and mind. It's a time to release the burdens of consciousness and let the subconscious take the lead. In the embrace of the darkness, your dreams take on an almost sacred quality. They are no longer fleeting or fragmented, but instead weave themselves into a coherent tapestry of thoughts, memories, and emotions. The dreams here feel more vivid, more alive, as if the quiet darkness is a fertile ground in which they can grow, unhindered by the distractions and pressures of daylight. In the absence of light, your mind is free to explore realms of thought and imagination that are often crowded out in the waking world. What you dream of now holds deep significance, whether it's the quiet passage of time, the vastness of the landscape around you, or the connections you share with others. Sleep here becomes more than rest. It becomes a journey into yourself. As the hours stretch on, you realize that it is not just about the escape of dreaming, but the opportunity to explore the deepest parts of your mind. The solitude of the long nights provides a rare and precious chance to process, reflect, and even heal. The night is not a void. It is a sanctuary that allows your mind to wander freely, to unearth forgotten thoughts, and to reconcile unresolved emotions. The darkness does not overwhelm, but instead invites you to explore its depths, guiding you through a world where time is no longer a constraint and the boundaries of your own self become more fluid. And yet, despite the quiet of sleep, you are never truly alone. The shared experience of the long nights connects you with everyone else in the village. You may each be lost in your own dreams, but there is a quiet solidarity in knowing that everyone is undergoing the same journey, each of you navigating the darkness in your own way. The community, though physically apart as you sleep, is united by the shared rhythms of the night. The absence of sunlight creates a space for individual reflection, but it also enhances the collective spirit as you all rest under the same unbroken sky. The darkness, instead of dividing, has a way of bringing people together, creating a bond that transcends waking life. When you wake, you do so not in response to the usual external signals, a clock, a bright sky, or the rise of the sun, but because your body naturally transitions out of its resting state. The quiet transition from sleep to wakefulness is a delicate shift, like the world itself is slowly coming back to life. There is no jarring rush to get up, no immediate obligations pulling you out of bed. Instead, you rise at your own pace, carried by the natural flow of the night's rhythms. The time spent resting becomes a bridge that carries you from the stillness of sleep into the quiet activity of the day, a seamless continuation of your existence in the Arctic dark. In this world of perpetual night, sleep and dreams are not isolated events but vital parts of the survival process, integral to your ability to endure and thrive. The darkness teaches you to find peace in the stillness, to find growth in the quiet, and to recognize the power of dreams not as fleeting, disconnected moments, but as essential to your very being. Through this shared experience of sleep, you not only rest, but you reconnect with the core of your existence, discovering strength and clarity that helps you face the challenges of the cold, the darkness, and the endless winter that surrounds you. As you move through this perpetual night, you begin to see how sleep and dreams are not just personal, internal experiences, but integral parts of the larger cycle of life in the Arctic. The stillness of the dark hours is not only a time for rest, but a time for renewal of the mind, the body, and even the spirit. The cold and isolation that might once have felt like barriers to survival now become a canvas for deeper understanding and growth. In the silence, there is a space for everything to settle: emotions, memories, and reflections into a place where they can be understood, processed, and allowed to rest. Sleep, once simply a necessity, begins to feel like a sanctuary where healing can take place. The long, quiet hours allow you to process the experiences of the waking world in a way that daylight never could. The uninterrupted hours stretch out, offering your mind a chance to unravel thoughts and emotions that have been buried during the day. There is an opportunity for the self to take a step back, to reflect, and to dream of possibilities unburdened by the constraints of reality. As you dream, you find yourself wandering through landscapes of both your past and your imagined future. The long nights become a place where you can explore those parts of yourself that are often hidden beneath the surface. Memories come alive in vivid colors, faces long forgotten resurface, and hopes for what's yet to come feel more tangible in the fluidity of your dreams. The rhythm of the night seems to beckon you into this inner world, where every dream is an invitation to dive deeper into the well of your subconscious. It's not just a place to escape, it's a place to understand, to heal, and to remember. In these quiet, expansive hours, sleep becomes a journey not just of rest, but of revelation. You find that the darkness doesn't swallow you, it holds you, gently, as you move through its depths. The absence of light, once a force of isolation, transforms into an ally, guiding you through the internal landscapes of the mind. You are not lost in the dark, you are free within it. The cold outside, the quiet of the land, are not threats but invitations to explore the vastness of your own inner world. It is in this space that you find the courage to face parts of yourself that have long been left undisturbed. When you wake, the quiet stillness of the night lingers in your thoughts, and you feel a sense of profound calm. The night has worked its magic, soothing your body, quieting your mind, and allowing you to emerge from its depths with a clearer sense of who you are and where you are headed. It feels as though you've come back from a journey, one that was just as real and meaningful as anything that happened during the day. The boundary between the two worlds, sleep and wakefulness, has become fluid, and you now move through both with a sense of connectedness, peace, and clarity. In this way, sleep and dreams in the Arctic night are not just a way to survive, they are a way to thrive. The endless hours of darkness, far from being something to endure, become a vital part of the cycle that allows you to grow, reflect, and connect with the deeper truths of your existence. The long nights teach you that there is beauty in the quiet, strength in the solitude, and wisdom in the dreams that unfold in the darkness. The polar night, in all its stillness, offers the gift of time to rest, to reflect, and to dream. And in that gift, you find not only rest, but renewal, and a deeper understanding of your place in the world. As the long nights continue, you come to understand that the stillness and solitude of the Arctic night have a rhythm all their own. Each night offers a new chance to explore not only your own inner world, but also your connection to the land and the people around you. Sleep becomes more than just a personal retreat. It is a way to align yourself with the natural world that surrounds you. The dark expanse outside mirrors the depth of your own thoughts, and the quiet that fills the air encourages introspection. There is peace in knowing that this silence, though profound, is not empty. It is filled with the unseen pulse of life, your life, the lives of those around you, and the eternal rhythm of the earth itself. The dreams you experience begin to carry even more weight, almost as if the land itself is speaking through you. You dream of the Arctic landscape, its vast, snow-covered plains, the crisp, biting air, and the unbroken horizon. But in these dreams, the land becomes more than just an environment. It becomes a living, breathing entity, full of stories and lessons. In your sleep, you find yourself walking alongside the ancestors of your community, hearing their voices in the wind, seeing their movements reflected in the dance of the shadows. The long nights provide an opportunity to connect with something much older than yourself, something timeless. It is in these moments that you begin to see that you are not just an individual in a vast, empty world. You are part of a larger, ever-present cycle, one that stretches back through generations and will continue long after the night has passed. The darkness no longer feels like an oppressive force, but a vast space where dreams and reality intermingle. The landscape around you is a canvas for the subconscious mind, a place where everything, memories, hopes, fears, mixes together to create something new, something that holds meaning. As the nights roll on, you begin to appreciate the way this world, bathed in darkness, reveals things about yourself that you might not have discovered in the light. It's in the quiet of these endless hours that you uncover parts of yourself that were hidden, perhaps even from your own awareness, and allow them to come to the surface. The time spent in solitude doesn't feel lonely anymore. Instead, it feels deeply fulfilling. The stillness of the night and the dreams that fill it bring you closer to the essence of who you are, to your true self. It's as though the long, dark hours are giving you space to rediscover parts of yourself that you had forgotten or pushed aside. You realize that in the quiet of the night, you are allowed to be fully yourself, without judgment, without expectation. The darkness becomes a mirror, reflecting not only the world around you, but also the depths of your own soul. And when you wake, there's a softness to your thoughts, a clarity that wasn't there before. The dreams you've experienced linger in the quiet corners of your mind, offering insights, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of your place in the world. You carry these lessons with you into the day, knowing that the long, dark night will soon be over, but the connection it offers, the sense of peace it provides, will stay with you long after the sun finally rises. The cycle of sleep, rest, and dreaming becomes a vital part of your life here. It is not just a way to recharge, it is a way to reconnect, to listen, and to find meaning in the vastness of the Arctic world. In this place, where the darkness stretches on, you learn that the quiet is not something to escape, but something to embrace. In the stillness, you find connection to yourself, to the land, to the people around you. And in the dream-filled hours of the night, you come to understand that it is in the darkness, where time stands still and the mind is free to roam, that you are able to find your deepest peace and clarity. The Arctic night, in all its quiet intensity, becomes a profound sanctuary, a place where sleep and dreams intertwine, and where you can truly rest, reflect, and grow. Over time, the villagers come to understand that darkness is not something to fear. In fact, it becomes an essential part of their lives, a space where they find peace, introspection, and clarity. The endless Arctic night, once a daunting force, is now embraced as a companion that offers more than just silence. In the absence of light, they've discovered a deeper rhythm of life, one that is gentle and unhurried, allowing them to reflect, connect, and grow. The darkness, instead of isolating them, has brought them closer to themselves and to each other. The cold and the stillness become a canvas for their thoughts. And within this vast emptiness, they find a sanctuary. It is in the quiet of the long nights that they have learned to let go of the pressures and distractions of the outside world, allowing their minds to rest, wander, and dream. The darkness, once seen as a threat, is now recognized as a space for renewal, a time to heal, to reflect, and to embrace the profound beauty that comes with the absence of external noise. The villagers begin to see that the night isn't just something to endure, but something to cherish. It is in the darkness that they find their true connection with themselves, their community, and the land around them. They have learned to live with the night, to find comfort in its embrace, and to understand that it's not the absence of light that defines them, but their ability to find meaning and peace in its depths. In this vast, endless darkness, they have found the light that resides within the warmth of community, the strength of reflection, and the peace of quiet solitude. As the long Arctic nights continue, the villagers start to realize that their relationship with the darkness has evolved into something more profound than mere survival. The absence of daylight no longer feels like a void, but rather a nurturing space where their spirits can rest, regenerate, and even flourish. In the depths of winter, when the world outside seems to freeze in time, they have discovered that the darkness is not a force to fight against, but a teacher that offers wisdom in its silence. The solitude of the night has allowed them to cultivate a deeper appreciation for the simple things, simple acts of kindness, shared moments, and the quiet connection that binds them together. It is in the darkness that they have learned to truly listen to one another, to the world around them, and to themselves. The darkness invites them to be present in ways they never felt the need to be in the light. The long, still hours bring clarity to their thoughts, and they find that the more time they spend in the quiet, the more they understand the delicate balance of their lives. It is during these dark months that the villagers have discovered the depth of their connection to the land. The endless night, once feared for its coldness and isolation, has become a mirror of the land itself, vast, unyielding, and yet full of hidden beauty. They find solace in knowing that the same cold that blankets the world outside also nurtures them. The stillness of the night allows them to feel the pulse of the earth beneath the snow, to understand the rhythm of the seasons, and to recognize their place within the larger, cyclical movement of nature. As they come to accept the darkness, they learn to find peace not only within the confines of their homes, but within themselves. The long nights have given them the time and space to reflect on their lives, on their joys, their struggles, and the things they've lost and gained. In the quiet, they realize that the darkness holds not only the absence of light, but also the fullness of possibility. It is a time to heal, to reconnect with lost parts of themselves, and to embrace the lessons learned from the quiet embrace of the long night. The villagers have learned that the darkness isn't something to escape from, but something to live with. It has become a companion that teaches them to slow down, to listen, and to appreciate the silence. In the absence of light, they have found not only the space to reflect and recharge, but the strength to face whatever the future may hold. They have learned that, in the end, it is not the light that defines them, but how they choose to live in the dark. It is the darkness that has helped them grow, that has helped them understand themselves and each other in ways that light never could. And so, as the night stretches on, the villagers continue to thrive in its embrace. They have discovered that the darkness, though long and often cold, holds within it the warmth of connection, the power of reflection, and the peace that comes from living in harmony with the world around them. In the vast expanse of the Arctic night, they find not only survival, but something more, something that cannot be defined by light alone. It is a peace that comes from within, a peace that is forged in the quiet, in the darkness, and in the shared strength of the community. As the endless nights unfold, the villagers begin to see the darkness not as something outside of them, but as a part of who they are. They have learned to weave the long hours of darkness into the fabric of their lives, creating a rhythm that reflects the cycles of nature. The dark months are no longer something to be rushed through or merely survived. They have become a time to embrace the depth of existence, to connect more intimately with the land, and to build stronger bonds with the community. The very absence of light has cultivated a deeper sense of gratitude for the moments they share, whether in silence, in storytelling, or in the quiet support of one another. In the heart of the night, when the village is still and the cold wind whispers outside, the sense of unity becomes even more profound. There is a collective understanding that they are all in this together. Each person's experience of the dark is unique, but the shared sense of purpose and togetherness makes the long nights less daunting. The cold may touch every home, but inside, the warmth of community holds strong, filling the spaces between breaths and thoughts. It is during these months of darkness that the villagers have discovered the true value of connection. They've learned that, while solitude offers moments of peace and introspection, it is human connection that truly sustains them. The act of sitting together by the fire, the quiet exchange of stories, the shared silence, these become the foundation of their resilience. The darkness teaches them that they are never truly alone, for even in the stillness, the presence of others is felt, shared, and understood. As the days begin to lengthen and the first signs of light slowly return, the villagers feel a mixture of anticipation and calm. The sun's return is not just a relief, but a reminder of the journey they have made together. Though the light will return to banish the darkness, they know that it is the darkness that has made them stronger. It is in the absence of light that they have found a deeper sense of connection, not just to each other, but to the world they inhabit. The long nights have taught them patience, resilience, and, most importantly, how to live in harmony with the cycles of nature. The light may return, but it is the lessons of the night that will stay with them, shaping how they approach the coming seasons. The dark months are not something they will simply rush to forget. They are a part of their shared history, a chapter that has helped them discover their true strength and the true value of community. In the depths of winter, they learned to find peace in the quiet, to cherish the stillness, and to embrace the darkness not as something to fear, but as a space for growth, connection, and renewal. And so, As the sun begins its slow ascent over the horizon, the villagers stand together, ready to greet the new day. But in their hearts, they know that the night, with all its mysteries and challenges, will always be a part of who they are. The light is a gift, yes, but it is in the dark that they have found their deepest strength. They have learned to live with it, to embrace it, and to find beauty and peace in its endless, quiet embrace. The cycle of darkness and light continues, but now it is a rhythm they understand deeply, a rhythm that will sustain them no matter what the future may bring. As the long, dark months stretch on, the first signs of change begin to appear. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the sun starts to creep over the horizon. The world, once frozen in shadow, begins to stir. The first light of dawn filters through the cold air, and the village begins to come alive again. The light, though welcomed, brings with it a bittersweet sense of change. The villagers have lived so long in the darkness that, while the return of the sun is a joyous event, it also marks the end of a special chapter. Yet the villagers understand something important. The darkness, too, holds its own beauty and peace. The sun may return, bringing warmth and light, but the quiet stillness of the long night will always remain a part of them. They have learned to live with the darkness, to cherish it for the way it fosters community, reflection, and rest. It is in the long nights, when the world is quiet and undisturbed, that they have found not just survival, but a deeper connection to themselves and to the land. As the sun rises higher in the sky, the rhythm of life will shift once more. The days will stretch longer, and the world will bustle with the energy of daylight. But the villagers know that they will carry the stillness of the Arctic night with them. Even in the warmth of the Sunday, the peace they've found in the darkness will remain a part of their souls, a quiet reminder that life, no matter how bright or dark, is always about balance. The return of the sun is a new beginning, but it doesn't erase the lessons learned in the quiet, in the dark, and in the stillness. They will continue to find moments of peace, of reflection, and of rest, whether under the soft glow of the oil lamps or the bright light of day. The Arctic night has shaped them in ways they never could have anticipated. And while the sun may return, the darkness will always hold a place in their hearts, a reminder of the peace they found in the vast, unbroken silence and the beauty that exists in stillness.